All right, so we've had quite a few of you reach out wanting to kind of wrap your heads around some recent changes with UK business filing and, specifically the end of that CATO joint filing service.
Yep.
So we're going to do a deep dive today on exactly why CATO is no more and really what it means for you and your business.
Yeah, I think you can consider this as your guide to understanding this shift, in the world of business filing.
Yeah.
We want to try to make it really clear, like, what's changed? How do you actually do it now?
Right.
And what are the tools that can make this transition as smooth as possible?
Yeah.
And we're going to be looking at information from MA and CO accountants who've been kind of keeping a close eye on all this.
Yeah, excellent resource. And they've got a great article that sort of outlines a lot of these changes and it might feel at first glance like a step backward having to kind of do things separately.
Yeah.
But it is part of a bigger picture to upgrade the UK's digital infrastructure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's just get straight to the heart of it. The Company Accounts and Tax Online Service, CATO.
Right.
It's officially closed.
Sure.
Done. It's no longer an option for you.
Yeah, that single portal where you could submit both your company accounts and your corporation tax return.
Right.
All in one go, it's gone.
It's been retired.
Yeah.
The name of the game now is separate submissions.
Separate. Okay.
Precisely. So you'll now be using two distinct online systems.
Okay.
Companies, House web filing for your company accounts, and HMRC Corporation Tax Online for your tax return.
So two doors where there used to be one.
Exactly.
And this is this isn't just affecting certain types of businesses, is it? This is
No.
across the board.
All UK limited companies,
Yeah.
whether you're private or public, if you were using the CATO joint service,
Right.
then this impacts you.
Got it. So to be super clear, it used to be one submission via CATO with a single login.
Yes.
Now it's two submissions, one to Companies House web filing and another to HMRC Corporation Tax Online. And each of those needs its own separate login.
Yep.
So we've established what's changed. But the big question is why? What's the thinking behind this from the government's perspective?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
And I think from their perspective, it's about future-proofing the UK's digital tax infrastructure.
Yeah. Right.
Aiming for these long-term improvements. So it's like upgrading from an old multi-tool to a specialized gadget that's designed to do this job more effectively.
Yeah. Okay. So a more robust system for the future.
Exactly. And there are several key drivers behind this improved efficiency. So each agency can focus on their own core responsibilities
Makes sense.
with their own dedicated systems. Better maintenance, separate systems can be updated and improved without sort of impacting.
Right. Easier to tinker with one without breaking the other one?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then enhanced user experience systems specifically tailored to their task
Yeah.
can be designed to be more user-friendly and intuitive. And finally, it's all part of that digital by default approach,
Right.
which is about, bringing more services online.
It sounds very much like a planned thing rather than just a sudden switch. But, were businesses given much notice about this?
Yeah, the information suggests that there was a careful planning process,
Yeah.
a transition period, advance notice was given,
Okay.
guidance was provided, and there's also collaboration with software providers and accounting professionals.
Right. Okay. So we understand the what and the why. Let's get practical. How do businesses file under this new two-system approach?
Absolutely.
Let's break it down. Companies House, HMRC, what are the steps?
Let's start with Companies House. The initial step remains the same. You prepare your annual accounts,
Right.
according to the UK Companies Act 2006.
So no change there in terms of what information needs to be gathered.
That's correct. Once your accounts are ready, you navigate over to the Companies House web filing service.
Okay.
You need to log in using your Companies House authentication details. And remember, that's separate from your HMRC credentials.
Yeah.
And you upload your accounts in IXBRL format.
Now, I've heard this IXBRL before, but just remind me again, what is that exactly?
Yeah, so this is a technical standard that essentially tags your financial data so that computers can easily read and process it.
Okay.
You can think of it like a universal language for financial data.
Got it.
Finally, you submit your accounts and you make sure that you receive confirmation that they've been filed.
Okay, so that's the Companies House side. What about the tax returns side with HMRC?
Yeah, so again, it starts with preparation.
Oh.
You're going to complete your CT 600 form. This is where you report your company's taxable profits
Yeah.
and calculate how much tax is due.
Yep.
Then you're going to log into the government gateway, which you probably use anyway for other HMRC online services.
Right.
From there, you access the corporation tax online service, you upload your tax return and any supporting documents,
Right.
again in IXBRL format,
Right.
and then you submit everything, and, importantly, save the confirmation that you've done it.
So two distinct processes, two different sets of logins.
Right.
But this underlying requirement for this IXBRL digital tagging, that stays the same across both. To make this a bit more concrete, can we go back to that example of Smith Trading Ltd.
Sure.
with their financial year ending on December 31st?
Of course. So for Smith Trading with a 31st December year end, their deadline for filing accounts with Companies House is 9 months later,
Okay.
which is the 30th of September.
Right.
The deadline for paying their corporation tax is the 1st of October, which is 9 months and 1 day after the year end.
Okay.
And then the deadline for submitting the corporation tax return to HMRC
Yeah.
is the 31st of December, so a full 12 months after their year end.
So the actual legal deadlines haven't shifted, but in the past, Smith Trading would have prepared one set of documents,
Exactly.
submitted it all through CATO by, let's say, September the 30th.
Yeah, so now they still prepare their company accounts,
Right.
but they upload that separately to Companies House web filing by the 30th of September.
Right.
Then they prepare the corporation tax return separately and upload that to HMRC corporation tax online by the 31st of December.
Got it. So it's the separation of that final submission
Exactly.
step that's the key change. Okay, so with these separate systems, what role does technology play in all of this? We've mentioned IXBRL a few times now.
Yes, that tagging is still absolutely crucial for both Companies House and HMRC.
Right.
It's that standardized digital format that their systems need to process your information accurately.
Got it. And the good news, I'm guessing, is that most modern accounting software has already been updated to handle these separate filings.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, popular packages like Free Agent,
Yeah.
Sage, QuickBooks Zero, they've all been updated to facilitate this.
So the software I'm probably already using can probably deal with this.
Very likely it can prepare your accounts and tax returns in the correct format for both systems.
That's good.
But as always, double check with your software provider
Right.
to make sure you're running the latest version.
Make sure you've got the latest updates. Let's consider how this might impact different types of business. What's the potential effect, particularly on smaller businesses or SMEs?
Yeah, so for smaller businesses, especially those who might have been doing this in-house and enjoyed the convenience of the single CATO system,
Right.
the impact could be more noticeable.
Okay.
It could mean a bit more admin, navigating two systems instead of one,
Right.
managing two sets of login details.
More to keep track of.
Potentially. But it's important to remember that the updated software is designed to streamline all this.
Okay.
Many programs offer features that simplify the process for both platforms.
And what about larger companies? How might they be affected?
Larger businesses often have teams of accountants or work with accounting firms,
Yeah.
so they may experience a smaller impact. Their accounting professionals are already familiar with both systems anyway.
Yeah, they're dealing with it day in, day out.
Yeah, so they might just have to tweak their workflows.
Okay.
Maybe experience a small increase in administrative costs related to managing the separate submissions.
So regardless of size, are there some practical steps that everyone can take to make this transition a bit smoother?
Absolutely. Good record keeping throughout the year
Yeah, always important.
is essential. Will make preparing everything a lot easier.
Right.
Secondly, make sure your software is updated to the latest version that supports these separate filings.
Right.
Thirdly, pay attention to the deadlines.
Yeah.
While the legal end dates haven't changed,
Right.
you now have two separate submission dates to keep in mind.
That's a really important one to remember.
Yeah, absolutely. So fourthly, if you're unsure about any of this at all, consider working with an accountant.
Right.
Someone who's experienced with both the Companies House and HMRC systems.
Yeah.
They can provide guidance and support, and finally set calendar reminders
Oh, yeah.
for both deadlines to avoid any last-minute panic.
Good advice. Really good advice. It's good to know as well that there are support systems in place if businesses need assistance.
Absolutely. There are a number of resources available. Companies House provides guidance on filing through their web filing service.
Right.
HMRC offers support for the corporation tax online system. The Financial Reporting Council gives advice on reporting standards.
Okay.
And professional bodies like the ICAEW and AAT also offer guidance and resources to their members.
And of course, we mentioned earlier, MANCO accountants, they also offer personalized support to businesses as well.
Exactly. So you're not alone in this. The accounting profession as a whole has adapted to this industry. Bodies like the Federation of Small Businesses, the FSB, and the Confederation of British Industry, the CBI, have provided guidance.
Okay.
And the British Chambers of Commerce have also been working to make sure businesses understand the new requirements.
And it is interesting how this all kind of fits into the bigger picture of this digital tax transformation that's been going on.
Oh, absolutely. This is all part of the Making Tax Digital initiative,
Right, MTD.
which aims to fully digitize the UK tax system.
Right.
So it's a step towards more specialized and potentially more integrated digital services in the future.
So this might be, potentially a bit of pain now, but in the long run, it's going to be much better.
Potentially, yeah. And we might see more use of things like APIs to allow systems to talk to each other,
Right.
better data sharing between government departments,
Yeah.
more automation, and hopefully a reduction in errors over time.
Okay. Now, one of the things that was really good about the material that you sent over is that it really directly addresses some of the common questions that businesses have about all this.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one of the key concerns is about deadlines.
Yeah.
As we said, the core legal deadlines haven't changed, but it's crucial to remember those separate dates for Companies House and HMRC.
Right. Two separate deadlines to keep track of. And another common question probably is, do I need new software?
Yeah, but in most
Yeah.
cases, no, your existing software has probably been updated. But as we said, double check with your provider.
Yeah, good advice. And what about that IXBRL requirement? Any change there?
No, the IXBRL requirement remains in place for both Companies House and HMRC filings.
Okay, so that hasn't changed. And then another one is this going to cost me more?
Well, there might be a slight increase in the amount of time you spend on admin.
Right.
But if you work with an accountant, discuss any potential changes to fees with them.
Yeah, good point. And what if I make a mistake on one filing but not the other?
Then you'll need to correct each filing separately through the respective online systems.
Okay.
So this really highlights the importance of carefully reviewing both submissions before finalizing them.
Right, so double check everything, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so while adapting to any change can sometimes feel like a bit of a burden,
Yeah.
the information also points out some potential upsides to the shift.
Yes, there are definitely long-term benefits. Having more specialized systems for each purpose
Right.
could lead to more focused development and faster improvements.
Yeah.
The user interfaces can be designed specifically with their task in mind,
Yeah.
which should make them more user-friendly in the long run. And there's potential for better integration with accounting software
Right.
to make things even more streamlined.
And finally, the material really emphasizes how MA and CO accountants can be a real partner in all of this.
Yes, they highlight their expertise in handling both sides of the new filing regime,
Right.
preparing and submitting accounts to Companies House, completing and submitting tax returns to HMRC.
Okay.
They can help with setting up those digital processes, making sure you're compliant, and provide cost-effective solutions for your needs.
Right.
And they emphasize their experience in helping clients adapt to these new requirements.
So just to summarize, the key takeaway here is that the CATO joint filing service is gone.
That's it.
Businesses now need to make separate submissions
Correct.
for their company accounts and tax returns using companies' PRACE web filing and HMRC corporation tax online.
Right. So while it will require some adjustments,
Yeah.
there's plenty of support available, and your existing software can probably help streamline the process.
And if you want to explore this further or need some guidance, the material that you sent over has tons of useful resources.
Absolutely.
There's information on their blog, a link to book a free consultation details of all their services,
Yeah.
and even a link to their podcast as well.
Yeah, I think as you navigate all these changes, it's worth thinking about how they might even help you refine your own business processes.
Yeah,
What proactive steps can you take?
that's a good point.
Not just to adapt, but to position your business to thrive in this new digital world of business admin.
Really good point. Thanks for joining us today. This has been really helpful.
You're welcome.
We'll see all of you next time for another deep dive.
See you then.